What's up? What's up? What's up? And welcome back to After the Snap. I am your host, Tasha Pierce. At least that's what this little thing down here, that over there, that's what that's telling me. I'm Tasha Pierce, so I guess that's who I am today. Um, Hopefully, I get a little bit of people in here so you can share my enthusiasm for the return of some Star Trek. Oh gosh, it's just been so long. How long has it been? Since the end of Prodigy? Wow, what a long time. Now, if those of us of a certain age can remember waiting an entire year for the new season of one Star Trek show, we've been being treated to Star Trek dang near all year round. So thank you. Thank you for Terry Matalis for this Star Trek Picard TNG send off. Sorry, I haven't even been talking long, and I'm already getting that little tickle in my throat when I've been talking. So, there has been a lot of excitement besides just me. I know I'm not the only one who is feeling some level of excitement for the return of Star Trek Picard, specifically this third and final season that shows us or that gives us a reunion of sorts, a proper send off for the characters that we came to love in Star Trek The Next Generation. Um, the press surrounding the premiere of this season was spectacular. It did an awful lot to ramp up, I guess, my expectations and my anticipation for the season. There were a lot of people who were able to see the first 6 episodes. I don't know what I got to do to get put on that list to see the first 6 episodes of a new Star Trek series to kind of have my reviews formulated. And I think, and I always say me and my friend Clarence, both of us, I think that we should be part of that group that gets that gets those episodes early so that we can start to formulate our reviews and the such. And just because I don't like waiting. But if you know how I'm supposed to get on that list, please let me know. And I'm dead serious because I really want to be part of the excitement of knowing where things is going and can't wait for the rest of the fandom to get where we are and just to see what the overall plan for the season is. The fan reactions for this one have been mostly positive, at least for what I've seen. There have been a few people who don't feel like this is doing much but fan service. I guess that's what it is. So there are people who believe that this is just going to be a love letter to fans, but that it's not going to be good television. And you know what? The proof is going to be in the pudding. And I have no control over the recipe for this pudding, but I wish I did. But so far, this first episode has not disappointed me. And hopefully, those fans who are kind of on the fence will swing one way or the other and either love it or not, but at least give it an opportunity to be what it is instead of hating it for what it isn't, because that's what is generally going on with a lot of people. So the nature of this here stream is going to be a loose conversation. I did do a video review and recap of Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 1, The Next Generation. I did do that earlier this week. So if you are interested in a more structured review, I'm going to invite you to watch that video because it's there for you. I'm also going to invite you, wherever you're watching, to chime in on, well, it's either a YouTube or Facebook. I think I've got this feed going out to Twitter as well. And Twitter, I will not be able to see your comments. So if you'd like to chime in, I'm going to invite you to come over to YouTube and Facebook and make yourselves part of the conversation, because I certainly want to hear what you have to say. Also, I'm going to invite you, if you've not yet done so, and if you're watching this whenever, to please subscribe to After the Snap. Become a member of the stream team by checking that join button down below. Make sure to smash the like button. I'm going to say all of the YouTuber, the whole script. Smash the like button. Join the channel if you're finding this content enjoyable. Leave a super chat if you would like to make my day, and or just make yourselves part of the conversation. I want everybody to be involved. Anybody can be involved. This is a safe space for Trekkies. Now, in case I have not yet done so, even though it's going across the bottom of the screen, I still think that I should let you know that there will be spoilers. There will be spoilers for Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 1, The Next Generation. And that one is Part 1. That is what they're calling it. So, if you've not yet watched Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 1, and you don't want to go in with a whole bunch of knowledge of what's going to happen, stop now, come back later, watch me on the rebroadcast. But if you are prepared to go boldly into this episode with me, then let's go. Okay, so going to give a loose recap, and depending on if I get anybody in here today, I am going to just keep pushing through the itinerary. If I get some people in and you want to make comments, we can slow things down, but if not, I'm going to move quickly. Okay, so in the 25th century, Dr. Beverly Crusher and her son, who we now know has a name. Yeah, a name has come out. His name is Jack. So, in the 25th century, Dr. Beverly Crusher and her son Jack are attacked aboard the SS Ilios. Beverly is injured and sends an emergency message to her former Starfleet captain. Uh-oh. Well, I guess I probably shouldn't have gave Jack's name, but I gave it anyway. And again, I don't have any I didn't have the opportunity to watch the first 6 episodes like so many of the other creators did. That name just leaked somewhere and I got a hold of it. So I probably shouldn't have said Jack's name. But here we are. I said it. Sorry. Sorry. Also, this episode was dedicated to Annie Wersching. Now, for those who are unaware, Annie Wersching was the actress that played the Borg Queen in season 2 of Star Trek Picard. She lost a battle with cancer just a few weeks ago, and this is a new loss in the Star Trek community. So rest in peace to Annie Wersching, and condolences to all the Trekkies everywhere, and especially the family and friends of Annie Wersching. I'm pretty sure that they will feel her loss tremendously. So Beverly was injured in the attack on her ship, the SS Ilios, and she sent an emergency message to her friend and former Starfleet captain, Jean-Luc Picard. I'm going to take a look at this, see if I can read this. The message read, Admiral Picard, I'm recording this transmission with coordinates. Listen to me carefully. Hellbird. Repeat, Hellbird. Now, in my review, I kept calling this Hellfire. Silly me. It was Hellbird the whole time. So, repeat, Hellbird. And Jean-Luc, no Starfleet. Trust no one. What a cryptic message from Beverly Crusher to Jean-Luc Picard. Now, Picard and his love, Laris. Remember Laris from last season? There's been a lot of questions amongst the fandom about whether this Laris is the exact same character that was the supervisor last season. I really believe that those are two separate characters. That she is a Romulan. Talon was a Romulan who looked an awful lot like Laris, but I don't think that was her. It could have been somebody who might have been her, an ancestor, or somebody who just looked like her. But I don't think it was her. I think we were meant to believe that Talon and Laris were two different people. But anywho, so where were we? Picard and his love Laris are planning a trip to Chaltok 4. Start a new life together, love each other off world. Beverly told Picard not to. Laris encouraged Picard, Admiral Picard, to go and save Beverly. So Beverly told Picard not to involve Starfleet again. So he goes to their friend, Captain William Riker. Now, Riker uses his status to stage an inspection Picard met Riker at 10 Forward, where they were preparing for Frontier Day. I've been told, because I did not know, was unaware, that these are Eagle Moss figurines, the models. Eagle Moss recently shut down, and people are missing Eagle Moss and their models. But it looks like Star Trek got a hold of a lot of these models, especially the Enterprise D, what they're calling the fat ones that nobody wants. But they meet up at 10 Forward, and they come up with a plan. And that plan is to use Riker's status to stage a surprise inspection of his former ship, the USS Titan. Now, Let me see. And then we got a beautiful shot next of the USS Titan. They gave us some really good looks in episode 1 of this ship. And when I say we got looks from every angle, they gave us a look from every angle. It was beautiful, bringing that ship. For it to see it in space dock and then to watch it come out of space dock was chef's kiss. So Riker was going to convince the captain of the USS Titan, who was Liam Shaw, to go off course and go to the Righton system in order to save Beverly. But they were going to do that without tipping their hand, without involving Starfleet, basically, what she asked them to not do. Now, Picard and Riker were unable to convince Shaw to allow them to go off course. And 7 of 9, who is the first officer on the USS Titan, is there with the assist. She's there with the assist. She ignores Shaw's orders and changes the Titan's course. So when Shaw met up with Riker and Picard, he was supposed to meet them for dinner. Now we see a shot of some beautiful Starfleet china, and we also see that Shaw has begun eating without Captain Riker and Admiral Picard. We learn a very little bit about Shaw in this episode. We didn't get an awful lot of him, but we got enough to know that he's a freaking jerk. He seems to have a huge problem with the Borg. He is very, very pomp and circumstance-y. He's one of those people who kind of not goes by the book. He toes the line. So the exploits of the former captain of the Enterprise and the former captain of the USS Titan is not impressive to him. Even though at one point he does say, I love these guys, he has a real strange way of showing that he loves these guys. Okay, so meanwhile, we're going to Metalis Prime, and we know Metalis Prime is named for the showrunner, Terry Metalis. This planet in the name has been around since the Enterprise days when Terry Metalis worked on that production as well. So we got Metalis Prime, and this is where we will find Rafi. Now, Rafi Musiker is on the search for a stolen quantum tunneling device. And she's working for Starfleet Intelligence. She has a mysterious handler, and that handler fears that this device is going to be used in a terrorist attack. So she's deep cover. She's been undercover for months. And knowing the background of Rafi Musiker, we know that she is a former, or I'll say she's a recovering drug addict. So even though she has been sober for a long time now, being thrust and being put in these seedy situations will call back for a person who is still battling that demon. So she's battling the demon, but she's undercover. She's got this creepy kind of handler who is telling her, look, you need to be expedient about this, pretty much. There are some question as to who the handler is, and I'm not going to speculate on that today because I got a video coming to my channel tomorrow that will be talking about my thoughts on who the handler is. So look for that video tomorrow, which is Monday, February 20th, President's Day in the United States. If you'll find that at about 9 or 10 o'clock tomorrow morning Central Time. So take a look at that video, make your guesses, and let me know in the comments of that one. So when Rafi was going about trying to find information about this quantum tunneling device, she finds out that the only thing that she can get out of some of her contacts is the Red Lady. So first she was trying to figure out if the Red Lady was the terrorist herself. Then she tried to figure out if the name of the Red Lady was like a ship or what was it. Eventually she's able to deduce that the Red Lady is a statue of Rachel Garrett, who is being honored as or during this Frontier Day ceremony. She's being honored with a statue outside of the Starfleet Recruitment Center. If you remember, Rachel Garrett is the former captain of the Enterprise C, who was lost years back. And there was a point in an episode of TNG called Yesterday's Enterprise where that ship reemerged out of it from an alternate timeline and wreaked havoc on the timeline of TNG. The only person who was aware that this timeline was in flux was Guinan. But anywho, she was pretty much martyred for Starfleet, and she is being honored with a statue outside of the recruitment center for Starfleet. And we have Rafi. She's figured out, this is the target, the Red Lady. This is the target. So she tries to warn Starfleet that this attack is imminent. And unfortunately, she is too late. And what we got next was just a devastating look at how this quantum tunneling weapon works. So we saw things as they were on a normally quiet day at Starfleet. Then the next thing you know, a portal opens, sucking the building, the Starfleet Recruitment Center, down through a tunnel, re-emerging through another portal, and then dumping the all of the debris into a whole different location. So what we have is two locations that have been completely discombobulated by this tunneling weapon. And Rafi saw this. She witnessed this along with us. And I'm pretty sure that can't be helping her situation. She's in a situation where she's isolated because she is deep cover. So she doesn't have anybody to talk to. She won't have anybody to mourn with. And she might even feel partly responsible for the destruction of this recruitment center. So it's going to be interesting to see the trip that Rafi goes on as we move through the season. Now, we're going back to Jack because Picard and Riker finally get to the SS Helios, and wait a minute. Yeah, they finally get to the SS Helios, and they discover that Beverly Crusher was in a hell of a firefight with those aliens who boarded her ship. She won, but she was actually really seriously injured in this battle. So they find her in a stasis, a medical stasis chamber. And they also find an unexpected passenger on this ship with her. And that is this young man right here, Jack, who they learn is Beverly Crusher's son. This could very well be part of the reason that Beverly Crusher has been off the grid for over 20 years and has been out of contact with her former crewmates from the Enterprise days. So that is where we are. This one was directed by Doug Arnioski, and it was written by Terry Matalas. There's a lot to chew on about this episode, and we are going to get into I guess we're going to get into a little bit more of it just a little bit later. We're going to talk about these closing credits because the closing credits were, I would say, equally as important as the episode itself. There was a wealth of information in the closing credits. So if you came here to hear my thoughts on what the closing credits had to offer, you are just in time. Now, before I move on, I'd like to remind you again to please hit the subscribe button if you are enjoying this content, and hit the like button so that this will live stream or the rebroadcast of it, because right now it seems like I'm hanging out by myself. The rebroadcast will go out, a little later, so other people might be able to find this rebroadcast of this live stream. BT Dubs, after Picard and Riker learn the crazy identity of this kid on the ship with Beverly Crusher, they also learn that Beverly and Jack have been being hunted, and they've been being hunted for quite some time by people that Jack says have different faces every time they arrive. Now, different faces makes me think, and I know we know we shouldn't jump too far ahead, but that is just what I do here. Different faces sounds an awful lot like changelings to me. Now, we can't be sure, and I'm not certain myself, but that is exactly what I thought about initially. My initial thought was different faces got to be changelings. So you tell me what you think could possibly be the identity of these beings that are chasing Beverly and her son. So, like I said, the end credits were loaded with possible hints as to where we're headed. And while we can't be sure that our speculations are correct, we know that these Easter eggs and these hints were put there just for people like me. Now, I'm not by myself. I do want to say thank you to Clarence and Dream Prism, also known as Alex, because they stayed up with me late on the night of that Star Trek Picard, the first episode aired, and we combed through those. We combed through those closing credits together. So I do want to thank them for helping me find some of the things that we found, because without them, I would not have been able to do it. I appreciate their collaborative effort in going through everything that we went through to find these Easter eggs from the closing credits. And when I say the closing credits were jam packed, they were jam freaking packed. We had a long conversation about these credits on the Discord, and I think I'm gonna pull the Discord conversation up so that I will have that available to me to reference. Because when I say there was a lot, there was a lot. And I knew that I was going to be coming back to these notes a lot later to make sure that I hit everything as we are going through these photos. Let's see here. Okay, we got a photo of the one of the screens on, I don't know if this is the USS Titan, what ship we are looking at right now, but what's most remarkable about this photo is what's blurred out. There are a lot of things on here that we can see, and there is an awful lot more that we can't. And sometimes when they blur things out, that's a hint in and of itself. This is going to come to be important. Now, I don't know, again, what ship this is. I'm assuming that it's the Titan, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. And I also am unsure of exactly what, or if all of these screens that we're going to be seeing are on the same ship. Because if they are, it opens up a whole bunch more questions for me. And we'll get to that as we move on. The next thing we see is the screen of a Klingon bird of prey. I think that all of this is written in Klingon. Not 100% sure, but then we get our next picture is going to be a Klingon cloaking device, which again is okay. We're putting a lot of emphasis on the Klingons and the capabilities of a cloaking device. Makes me feel like that's going to come back and be important later, but all of these things will possibly be important moving forward. Our next photo is a DNA strand. And we were surmising over on the Discord. If, by the way, you would like to join the Discord, I believe that there's a link to it in the first comment underneath this stream. So we see this DNA strand, and you got to wonder, like, okay, why would that be significant? And we are thinking that this is what Beverly is working on. This is one of her experiments that she's working on. It has something to do with DNA resequencing, and that's one of her secretive projects that she's working on in her time away from Starfleet and the rest of the crew of the Enterprise. So next, we see holodeck programming. Now, as this screen went on during the closing credits, as we watched them on the screen, we also got another screen of this that said that the safety protocols were offline on this holodeck program. So we know that we're going to see Moriarty at some point this season. And the last time we saw Moriarty appear with the holodeck was the safety protocols had been taken offline. So I'm wondering if that's how we get Moriarty back, and what function will Moriarty serve in this season. So just something to think about, especially since this was one of the things that was planted for us to find. Then there was a musical sequence, and honestly, I don't read music, so I had no clue what this sequence was. I was watching Trek Culture, and the host, Sean, I believe his last name is Ferrick. Sean Finnick. I can't remember what his last name is, but he sat down at a piano and played these notes, and it turned out that the musical notes were for Pop Goes the Weasel. So that is another clue that was put here for us to find in those closing credits. Next, we see a positronic brain, and we assume that this is lore because we know we'll see lore in this season, but it doesn't necessarily have to be Lore's positronic brain. It could be pretty much anybody. And by anybody, it could be Data, it could be B4, it could be Lore, or it could be someone else altogether. We have no clue just yet, but we do know exactly what that is when we see it because we've seen it before. Next, we see the specs of a ship and then an official Starfleet war damage report. Now, in that damage report, we learn that the ship is the USS Constance. It's a Constellation class ship. It was lost in action. Now, the star date that was attached to this is 44002.3, and those dates correspond to Wolf 359. So we again have a reference to the Borg. We have Liam Shaw, the captain of the USS Titan, hating the Borg. When we first saw Beverly on the SS Ilios, we found her listening to Captain Picard's old captain logs from the time right before the ship, or before Picard was abducted and turned into Locutus. We've got also Hellbird. Hellbird was in her encrypted message, and that alluded to a time that we as an audience were unaware of, but that Riker and the rest of the crew of the Enterprise would know what Hellbird meant because it was put into action during the time that Picard was Locutus. So we are getting some Borg references here And this is yet another Borg reference. So I don't know how that ties in, but we will learn. Our next photo is of a space dock with different ships docked. Now we have the NCC 80107, the USS Ganymede, NCC 52136, the USS Appalachia. Both of these ships defended sectors 001 in Wolf 359. So again, another Borg reference, another reference to the time that Picard was Locutus. And it's becoming more and more not apparent. It's not a wholly apparent that this time is going to be very important to this season's story, but with so many callbacks to that era, something about Picard being Locutus once before is going to come back, it seems, in this season. Then we got the Fleet Museum on 8th and Prime. We see that USS Voyager, along with other ships, are being housed there. And we also know from Picard mentioning it in the first act that Geordi is the commander over the Fleet Museum. So Geordi is there taking care of Voyager and these other ships in their retirement. Now, our next screen is the encrypted message along with Picard's access code, authorization code for this encrypted message. My question is, where is this being shown? Because Picard got that message when he was at home. He came and he relayed that message to Riker, but who is able to access this encrypted message from a ship? Because this certainly looks like it's on a ship and that there is someone accessing this encrypted message. So even though Beverly said, trust no one, someone is able to tap in to their messages, it appears. We're not 100% sure. This is just what it looks like to me. But somebody is able to tap into their messages, it appears. And it makes me think of Starfleet Intelligence and or Section 31, or whether those two things are the same. But that's what I'm looking at when I see that somebody is getting into these messages. And the fact that we are able to see this DNA sequence, if that is what Beverly is working on, that also means that this person from Starfleet Intelligence or some other organization is also able to tap into what she's doing, even though she has been removed from Starfleet for over 20 years. So that's something to think about. Our next screen is a Starfleet officer performance eval on Captain Liam Shaw and the USS Titan. Name and rank commander, and there is something redacted there. It's a confidential document that somebody is able to access. Now, it would be kind of safe to assume that Liam Shaw would be able to access his performance evaluation. But why would he need that? Why would he need that? And why would he need a redacted copy? If it was his own copy of this performance evaluation, there would be no redactions. So my question then is, what the heck is going on? Is this being accessed by a member of a shadowy organization such as Section 31, Starfleet Intelligence. Then we see, do not seek blame, do not seek. And then it says weapon found on site, disengage investigation until. That's all that we can see on this screen. But I'm wondering, what does this even what is it referring to? I don't know if it's referring to the weapon that was used in the terrorist attack that we saw, or if they're talking about some other weapon. But whatever it is, again, somebody has this type of access, and they are getting these types of orders or commands electronically. Our next screen is more DNA sequencing. And then it says biomed system. Let's see. Biomed system, and I can't read that number, but I did see that the patient ID is 41-542213. I don't know if that means anything. I plugged it in to see and coded it with Star Trek to see if anything came up. I got no hits, so I don't know what it is, but we can be certain that it is about a person, and this person's DNA is being displayed on the screen from a biomed system. I'm not sure if this is after Beverly Crusher was rescued from this stasis chamber. Maybe this is her information. I'm not sure, but I am very interested in knowing, because this has taken me in so many different directions. I started off thinking, okay, we are going with we're going with a Borg connection. Then I think about what Jack said, and okay, he said that these people with scare quotes that are chasing them, they show up with different faces. So that made me go down the changeling route. And now to see this DNA sequencing, and to know that we are going to get lore later on in this season, it makes me wonder if this is some eugenics type program where they're trying to combine the artificial intelligence with a human intelligence, basically like Picard is. Picard is not any longer in his own body. He is a golem. So if he's a golem, then maybe they're trying to figure out how to make more. I don't know. But it's just weird that we keep seeing things that send us in the directions that we are going in. Or at least it's weird to me. Then the next slide, I can only assume, is the tunneling weapon, the function at least of that weapon. We see that there's the suck down on one end and the blast out on the other. That is what quantum tunneling would look like in theory. So this is probably how, or the predicted function of that weapon. Who would have the predicted function of the weapon? We know that the Daystrom station is where the weapon was stolen from. They would know the predicted function. But again, this looks an awful lot like it's on a starship. Might not be, could be in a lab at Daystrom Station, but we are going to have to wait to find out. But I was just excited to see that these things were hidden, these types of Easter eggs were hidden there for us. We got one more slide, and that is, well, wait a minute. How I got more slides over here than I got over here? That's weird. again, we've got a brain scan here. Now, this brain scan looks very human. Doesn't look like a positronic brain scan. I don't see a patient ID on this scan either. So that I'm assuming that this is a human's brain, and that human could potentially either be, and it looks like there's some kind of lighting up in a portion of the brain, which will make me think that this is a brain that is either actively thinking, so this person is hooked up to something with their brain attached to it, or this is measuring brain function of a person who is ill or injured. So this could be Beverly's brain function after her injury, or it could be Picard's brain function to see. Well, he wouldn't even be able to see it now because he's not in his original body. But the erotic syndrome he had, or whatever it was, I forgot the name of it. But whatever that illness that he had was, maybe this is just a brain scan, an old brain scan of Picard's. We'll wait to see, but this is very interesting to me. Mm. Okay, and then let me see. Where was I? Oh, we got another red alert, conditional or condition red alert. So that's just we know that this is just a red alert. Danger, Will Robinson. Except for Will Robinson is not in this show. We don't know where this is. It could be on a ship. It could be in the in a lab or something. So we just know something is about to go down wherever they are. And last but not least, the last thing we get is this screen of and I'm not sure what ship it is. I can't see, and I know I put this up here for a reason. I think it was because of what was on the screen to the right or to the left of it, of the ship. So I don't know for sure why they will put this, but I also know that it also is, and I'm catching this right now, that it's showing us this ship, and then it's also to the right. There's that DNA sequence. So that is letting me know that that wasn't in a lab or anything. That is on a ship. We got the scans of a ship. We got this DNA sequence and a lot more screens going on over here. So again, don't know if it's Starfleet intelligence or what, but it was very interesting to see that these things were all put there for us to find. And I'm going to be looking, Terry Metalis and you, I'm going to be looking in the next one to talk about or to see what you leave from me next week. Now, again, I got a video coming out tomorrow that is going to dive into who I think the handler is for Raffi in her time with Starfleet Intelligence. Then we will be doing a season 3, episode 2 recap and review video for the second episode of Star Trek Picard. That one is going to be called Disengage, and I am going to be reviewing that in a video, and then we'll also be coming back here next week, Sunday, for a live stream. We're going to try to do it on Sunday at the same time. So if you missed this week, join me next week. The reviews, I'm going to try to upload those as well in podcast form in case you want to take your your review without all of the visuals, even though I put some nice visuals in there sometimes too. um, Again, I'm going to invite you to the Discord right down there in the first comment on this video is going to be an invitation to the Discord. If you're watching this on the rebroadcast, it will be in the description box of this video where you can come join in our weekly ongoing conversation, because we talk all times of day and night about Star Trek and among other things. But while Star Trek Picard is the big new Star Trek shiny toy that we have to play with, that is what we will be playing with. I'm going to invite you as well to follow me on all the social medias. I'm After the Snap Movies and TV on Facebook. I am at Snap After on Twitter. So you want to follow me on the social medias, I'll appreciate it. And you can hit me up there with your questions, comments, concerns. I want to also thank my channel members. I don't say this enough during our streams, but thank you all for continuing to support my channel, and to my patrons for doing the same. I truly appreciate you all. If you'd like to become a patron, you can go to patreon.com/afterthesnap. No, I'm sorry. I gave you the wrong address. I suck. If you'd like to become a patron, you can go to patreon.com/Tasha Pierce. The spelling is right down there, right where my name is. You can see the spelling for Tosh. It's Tasha Pierce. And also, if you'd like to, you can join my channel by hitting the join button down there. Sends me a couple of bucks. You'll get a couple of perks, including a shout out in every video. And that's all I got for today. I don't have anything else. I enjoyed presenting this today, and hopefully you'll find it on the rebroadcast and talk to me. Give me some comments down there. And after that, I want to thank everybody else who isn't a channel member or a patron. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Live long and prosper. Peace.